This is a story of domestic violence in which a man, according to this lady, had shared a discussion thread. I participated in it to some extent, and I think there's a powerful bit of insight that is missed every time, and I believe this is the reason why domestic violence continues to recur and is increasingly occurring with more serious outcomes. All right, deaths and all that, more injuries and even more frequency, in my opinion. So I want to read out this story, and I want to read out a few of the comments that have been made, and the comments I had to make in chatting with one of the people that was in the comments area. All right, so I'm just going to run through it quickly. Just coming from the police station where we reported a case of domestic violence, the victim, a 37-year-old beautiful woman, has been keeping quiet and bearing the beatings foolishly because she did not want to expose her husband. He has been unemployed for the past 7 years and she has been the breadwinner. Yet physical, emotional and psychological violence was her lot. He recently started threatening her with death for being behind his woes, even though she bought him a car for Uber. He only drives the car for leisure and said he is too big to do cab driving. She went to report at the police station when he beat her severely last 3 weeks ago, and the IPO asked her to beg the man because husbands are scarce. I think that's Inokwam, that's an Igbo expression, I believe. She said she refused to beg a man who beats and shames her even in front of her son. The police officers drove them away. I don't know who them are. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, maybe she went to somebody. He later got home and packed her clothes and burnt it that night. The story of violence was long. Let me try and end the story. 2 days ago at midnight, the man woke her up and told her that he would kill her and kill himself, that he was tired. She said the quiet way he said and the finality, okay, I think she wanted to say he said it, and the finality in his voice scared her. And what was more frightening was that he told her not to bring the Nokia touchlight phone she was using home anymore, after earlier ordering her to stop using an Android phone 2 months ago. She said she was scared that he may have dastardly and sinister plans and wanted to prevent her from reaching out to her loved ones. Suffice it to say, she's in a safe house tonight. We shall institute a divorce proceeding when she moves to her new apartment. I am happy we didn't have another death statistic in our hand. Men and women should learn to live any relationship that threatens to take their lives. There is no marriage in heaven. Now, you're not just raising your son, you're raising somebody's husband and somebody's father. Raise your sons to be good men. I know this image, I know the gentleman, not personally, but I know this image, I know where it was taken. It was in the USA. You can see the American flag in the back, but that's not even why. I've seen that image before, and it's the reason I don't like it, but I'm going to get to that later on. Now, I want to say the comments. Wow, well done, God bless you, blah, 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 blah. But I want to take you to some people, okay, who said something that I think are worthy of note. But I always, whenever this kind of things are said, they tend to be ignored when they are said. So I want to just show you. I hope I'll get there on time. I don't want the video to be too long. Okay, now you see this one person. This person had expressed himself as now you sabi, but I just want to read what the person said because it's one of those things I wanted to point out. I don't intend to sound insensitive, but what does she normally say to the man that provokes him to beat her? Personally, I'm going to respond to that straight away. There's no excuse. I was provoked beyond. People told me that they could not understand why I did not kill her, why I did not pour acid, why I did not send people to beat my own ex-partner. I didn't. I used to think it was 20 years, it was 18 years. In 18 years, there was never a time she had nothing to show. So what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't matter the amount of provocation, there is no excuse. However, like one guy said when they called onto the TVC, Your View program, when they were talking about whether or not there was any kind of provocation that could lead or justify abuse or violence, there's none. There's nothing that justifies abuse. But like one guy said when he calls onto that show, there are some weak men. You see, these weak men are raised without being trained to know how to exercise restraint and how to have self-control. Because of that, if you are encountering such men, don't expect them to follow that rule. That there's no they don't understand it. They're like just one level below or above wild animals, and they will lash out like a wild animal. People need to understand that. But let me go on. I don't intend to sound insensitive, this guy says, but what does she normally say to the man that provokes him to beat her? Women have this habit of really provoking and daring men to beat them. We have seen it happen several times. I'm not supporting spousal abuse, just so we have a balanced discussion. Now, I'm going to show you two things. One is going to, that's at the end of this video. I thought, or maybe I'll cut it and put it in before I continue this discussion. Maybe that's what I'll do. Or maybe I'm going to play it at the end. There's a video clip. I think a man and a woman, I don't know if they're really husband and wife in real life. They did a video in which they talked about this. They talked about the fact that some women will do all the things that are going to push a man over the edge. Because we're all hot-blooded people. We're human beings. So there's only a limit. Not everybody has the same threshold of tolerance. I have a very, very powerful ability to control myself, but some other men don't have that because they don't have the training. I have martial arts training. I keep telling people there's a difference between me and most other men. Most men will not take 1/10 of what I took from my children and from their mother, because their mother instigated them to do it. Somebody commented about that here, how children were used, So, and that was a lady, she was saying it. So it's important. I believe this thread offers some powerful insights, and I'm going to point out the fact that I believe strongly that many of the so-called mediators, the activists who are working as advocates against domestic violence, whether against for men or women, in men or women's favor, many of them are actually the reason why these things are not being resolved, why this problem is increasing, because of the attitude they adopt and the disposition they have towards addressing each party with regard to what they are doing wrong. They always let it be one-sided. That's what this guy is talking about, and we're going to see it. But let me just wait till I get to that. All right. He said the balanced discussion here is if the woman nags and he doesn't have a high tolerance threshold, he should leave instead of becoming a beast. They are forgetting. Somebody said it. They will block you. You will see the video I'm going to play for you. They will block you and refuse to let you go. If you go today, tomorrow, when it's in the middle of the night, are you going to go and get yourself mugged on the streets? The point is, she needs to stop. It's not a matter of telling the person to go. What if there's no place to go? I tried to get relatives to take me into the house for some days so I could get away from the mad woman that was screaming like a banshee in the house. I couldn't. Nobody would take me in. Each person was giving me reasons why they couldn't take me in. I couldn't blame them. So I had to stay. Eventually, what did I do? I actually had to leave Nigeria to go to Benin Republic. It was one of the main reasons why I went to Google and began to research what countries can I go to. I didn't have money. I had to borrow money to cross into that country, and I ended up sleeping on the streets for the first 2 weeks of my stay in that country after I got kicked out of the hotel, all because I could find nowhere to go to get peace from a nagging woman. These people they oversimplify, and they want to dismiss the concerns of the men. And I'm very passionate about this because I've seen this cycle repeat itself, and I know if it wasn't that I was very strong, I would have done exactly some of the things that these men have done. These men that abuse women and kill women and injure women, I would have done it because I had even worse provocation than many of them. And I'm saying that the reason why this is happening is because when these issues are brought up about what the man faces, they don't listen. Now let me stop here. I'm just going to straight away. I was thinking I'll do it at the end, but let me just do it straight away, just for you to understand. I've talked about this several times when I've been interviewed. This is an excerpt. It's not the full thing. I have the full recording, and I'm going to turn it into a video podcast. I'm going to do it today. I made up my mind. I'm just going to change his voice a bit. This is the interview I had with a Nigerian psychiatrist. He's based in London, and he's the one that gave me an interview about, is it 2 years ago now? Yeah, 2020. So 2 years ago, roundabout. And he shared some stories with me about domestic violence, what Nigerian women were doing to their husbands in the UK. And he told me, I think, stories about 4 different couples, of which about 2 of them were already in jail for what they did to their husbands. But he was somebody that was involved to the point of even having to give testimony in court, according to what he told me. I want to share with you something. It's something I share every time I'm speaking when I'm interviewed. I always try to start with it because I think it's very important to let people understand that this thing, it is women that are acknowledging that this thing is, and these are professionals in the field. And if a professional is telling you this is an issue, the people who are the activists should listen and take it into consideration when they are doing their work. But they don't. There's so much emotion and sentiment applied by the female activists. Not all of them, please. And make that distinction. Not all of them, but a large majority. And because the large majority of them, they gang up together, they come together and they make so much noise. They virtually drown out the voices of the ones that are trying to speak. For instance, we're looking at this thing I'm saying here now, this thread. The people that are talking are females. You see, they are females talking about this. Even the person I'm going to mention further than when I go down in that thread is a female that still brought up the matter, and they just kind of deflect it. I'm not saying that Did the one deflecting that? No. But I'm just saying that generally, no attention is given to that thing to the point of saying, let's act on it. Let's go and sit this woman down. Okay, you are the victim. We agree. He was beating you. We agree. But can you please tell us the nature of conversation you have? Okay, you know what? Hold on. Let's call the man. Please, can you tell us what she says to you? Can you tell us why did you feel a need to hit her? Why did you, and vice versa too. The woman is hitting the man, injuring the man. Can you please, madam, tell us? They don't do it. They don't do it. 9 times out of 10, they don't bother. They just keep saying, he beat her, he beat her, he beat her. Now, read what this woman said. This is a professor of psychology in a Western university, specifically University of West London. This gentleman said, I did a master's program at the University of West London. So this is a psychiatrist talking to me. He agreed to be interviewed on phone. It was a telephone interview when he visited Nigeria 2 years ago. He said, I did a master's program at the University of West London, family intervention therapy. I would recommend that you look for a good university that offers that program and do it. It's a psychological and analytical course, but I think this is not relevant. Let me just skip this. He said it was the 2nd month of the training. We had a lady professor came to speak to us. I think Amanda Banks is her name, professor of psychology. Right, this is the meat of it now. She said something. She said, when you talk of abuse, the victims of abuse have been men. What you see as physical violence at home is usually a response to the person who has been pushed beyond limit. You are treating the symptoms. You are not treating the cause. Now he began to speak Yoruba mixed with English. I am going to post that video today. That audio as a video podcast today, so that everybody can listen. I'm going to put the link. I'm going to post it right in this thread so that people can go and listen to what this man said. Because at this point, honestly, it's time we began to call this thing out the way it is. He says, you see, I stood up. We were more than 17 doctors in that course. I stood up and put my hands on my head because it was like I was in darkness and somebody just pointed light to it. I said to myself, is this the reality coming from a professor of psychology in a Western university? Well, I will listen to this woman. Note, like I said, it was a woman that said that, a professor of psychology. We go to school in Nigeria. We do not want to use the knowledge we get from exposure to schooling. This is my belief. We know that we should, but we refuse because of sentiment. This is my belief, and my belief is based on the experience I have had as a male survivor of domestic violence and now a men's rights advocate. I am saying, if we know that we don't want to have more deaths and more injuries, we need to address all the problems that precipitate violence and abuse. And that cannot be one-sided. It cannot be that there's a gene in men that makes them violent and abusive. It's not possible. There are men who are not violent. There are men who are not abusive. Therefore, it means that there are men who are violent and there are also women who are violent and abusive. We should therefore look at those two parties in a relationship objectively and identify what is triggering either person to do whatever to the other, and not make assumptions and generalizations to condemn one person based on the fact that he has a particular type of reproductive organ. This is what we're doing, and it's not helping us, and that's why men are killing women and sometimes women are killing men. It's the reason why we don't seem to be solving the problem, because we are not doing it right. It has to be balanced. Now let's read up. You'll see a woman talking about what I've just said now. He said, so this person says the balance discussion, and then said, well, still more on the balance discussion, what will make a man not to get a job or take care of his responsibilities? I'm sorry to say, I'm going to say this. That statement, as far as I'm concerned, reflects again a lack of understanding of the psychology of a human being. When a man goes through loss of job and is in a home, and if what Professor Amanda Banks said is correct, and the woman has been attacking him verbally, emotionally, and psychologically, he can lose confidence in himself to the point that he will be so depressed. There are levels of despair, there are phases of depression, and that stage might be a stage where he doesn't even have the confidence anymore to go out and subject himself to the search for a job. As it is in Nigeria, it's so difficult to search for a job. You get a lot of abuse. That is the truth. You get treated badly. A man who is struggling with his self-esteem might find it difficult. It's not a matter of ego. When you have a woman that is chipping at your self-esteem every day, the way mine did, and I wasn't even jobless. If anything, I was very, very active in doing what I was doing, and I was the one still providing most of the money to feed. What was she bringing in? Literally nothing. So And yet, she was making fun of me and telling me I could not meet up, comparing me to people's husbands. I could have killed her a long time ago before the children even grew up. Way back in 2009, way back in 2010, she was already inflicting injuries on me. And still, all I had to do was look at a weapon and hit her, and then tell some lie and tell her to prove it. You know, you can say all you like. These men, how many of them have been locked up before now? Is it not a case of, I never gave her the opportunity. She wanted to tell lies against me. It didn't work. The police believed me all the time, not her. Now, isn't that odd that a man gets believed over a woman again and again and again? That is proof that I was not violent in 18 years. Not once. Not once. Instead, she was one that got locked up or detained for 24 hours. Now, my point is, we are missing it when we talk like this. You don't just say that, because the psychology of a human being is a very complex thing. The emotions that a person is feeling when the person that is closest to him, that knows all his secrets, is beating him down psychologically, messing him up in front of the children, mocking him and subjecting him to ridicule. This were done to me. The difference is that I have a healthy level of self-esteem. I have a bunch of achievements under my belt. I knew who I was confident of my abilities, and I was succeeding, and I knew it. Therefore, whatever she was saying, I deflected it, but that was because I had the training. How many men have that training? I didn't get that training from my home. My parents didn't give me that training. I got that training from the world. The company I worked in, and before then, the place where I was trained as a martial artist. I was a very young guy in my teenage years, but that martial arts training, I would till today, I'm grateful to Uncle Jide and the other gentleman, Kunle Akishenwa. They were the ones that made me to have that foundation of mental stamina. That thing is something we should build into every young person. Martial arts training is something that should be compulsory for all young men as early as possible in their lives. I'm telling you, there's a man doing it in the US, and all the young people that are going through it, their parents are saying that the transformation in them is great. Martial arts training should be made compulsory for all young men before they ever step foot into any home to say they're going to marry anybody's wife. If not, some women will provoke you, you will kill them off, and then you will go and settle for jail. You know, I want to read out more to you. So, is it that what will make a man not to get a job to take care of? No. Many things will make a man. A woman that is attacking his self-esteem every day and using him to wipe the ground and saying that she's feeding him, telling him he's useless, man, that woman, that thing can make the man not to get a job. It can make him to lose hope completely in himself and lose confidence in his abilities and just stop wanting to do anything and even stop wanting to live. And he will decide that he doesn't want to go alone when he wants to die, that he doesn't want to live anymore. He won't want anybody else to live, because he feels that woman contributed to what has become of him. You need to understand psychology. I think people need to go for training on psychology. Now, look at the man responding. He should leave. Did you see what you did there, barrister? You shifted responsibility to the man alone. You expected rationality from him without expecting for. Oh my God, I need to talk to this gentleman. Now, you Sabi, I don't know whether it's a man or a woman now, but he's talking, or whoever this person is talking. Responsible behavior should be expected from all adults regardless of gender. You implied women are free to be irresponsible. Oh my, that is it, man. Hitting the nail on his big fat head. And then he said, it's the peak of shamelessness for a man to stay that long under the care or generosity of a woman. It signifies a core death of masculinity in a man. I just hope his mental health is okay. Might be a psychological thing as well. Said, she replied, I did not shift any responsibility. I have said it countless times that people should live an abusive marriage. The woman here is a victim and she has chosen to leave. If the man is also being abused, she should leave. Nobody is worth dying for. The man said he might actually be the victim. Oh Lord, this guy is... Oh no, this guy should get a medal, man. He might actually be the victim. Only God knows how many times she's been shaming and abusing him in the presence of children and others. This is what happened to me. The only difference is that I had the strength, the mental fortitude to resist it and to fight back, because I wanted to show my kids, you can beat this. If you ever encounter it, this is what you should do. Till today, my children will know. I know they have memories. They know, even now I'm handling it. And as I come back and they're coming back into my life, they know that example I've given to them is a reference point in their lives. In their memories, they know that they have a choice. They can choose to be animalistic or they can choose to be like their father. I handled her. I proved it that it was possible for a man to walk away from that relationship without ever being guilty of any physical abuse of any sort. I didn't do it. So, and she couldn't accuse me of psychological and emotional abuse. It wasn't possible. So it was just her trying to defend herself against what I said, and most times she couldn't even offer any explanation. So look at that. Only God knows how many times she's been shaming and abusing him in the presence of children and others. At times, women are the initiators of these abuses. Most women are mouthy, most men are not. A woman will be mouthing off serious vituperations against the man, and the man no get mouth like her. So when he retaliates in the manner he can, he gets blamed for everything. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you can see the relationship between what that gentleman has just written there and what Professor Amanda Banks was saying here. That is it. Now the thing is, always I found out that the female interventionists, the female mediators, the female activists, I would say 9 times out of 10, it is very rarely that I find one that is willing to be objective and to look at that issue from the way this man is painting it. That, oh, indeed, the woman could have actually precipitated this thing over time. The man may not have been like that. That's why the video I'm going to play for you, you watch the video. Maybe I'll just see if I can find it straight away and just play it for you. I'll just add it. So you can see he said it all, man. I don't even know why. Okay, well, I guess so. Abusers always select their victim. That one. So this guy said, oh, she replies him, please kindly stop being an excuse for spousal abuse. If a man is a victim, he should rescue himself and move away. If this woman is the abuser, will she be wanting to move away? Oh my God. I'm sorry. I don't know, and I cannot hide the names. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to question your professional competence, but madam, I'm sorry. Please, you need to go for. I think the professionals that are going to intervene in these things need to go for training. They need to go for the kind of training. This family intervention therapy, they need to attend it. And according to that gentleman, he said it will be arranged for them free. They need to attend it. What she said here showed that she needs the training. It's not meant to disrespect her or to discredit her, but it's clear that there's something she's missing, and that is a very critical element if she's going to solve problem. Because if she doesn't solve that problem, this woman she's protecting will create women like her in form of her own daughters. They will go and do the exact same things to their husbands and know that the people who are going to intervene will come and reason the same way and blame the man still, when the man is the actual victim. He said, indeed, okay, mention her name again. No, she wouldn't. But we have seen cases where women play serious games on the public. The case of Johnny. Oh my God, this guy. I wasn't going to mention Johnny Depp, but now, good. Johnny Depp is proof that what this man is raising as an issue is a valid issue. Amber Heard tricked the whole world. If Johnny Depp did not have the money, that's how we would have been looking at Johnny Depp today as an abuser. But today, everybody now, because of her, now knows that women can tell lies and manipulate the entire public and doctor evidence, even manufacture injuries that do not exist. Today now, what's the name of the movie studio? I think Warner Brothers. They are removing her all the places where she appears in the movie. What's the name of this movie? They are removing her from it. Aquaman 2. They've removed her all the scenes where she appears from it because of the outcome of the investigation. The court case where she was roundly defeated by Johnny Depp and proven to be a liar. She lied about domestic abuse. If not that Johnny Depp had been insistent and had used his money to pursue that case, today we would all be calling Johnny Depp an abuser, a violent man, which he was not. He was the victim and she made herself look like the victim. So let me stop here. I get your point. The man replied, I know and understand some people play. Yes, she's replying. I know and understand some people play sick game to whip up publicity, but I will still insist that the victim should live for his or her sanity regardless of gender. True, the man replies. So both of them have amicably resolved that. It wasn't like they were fighting anyway. But like I said, for me, this lady, much as I respect her, I think I've seen her even the time she was on TV, speaking to the press. She knows her job. But I think that area, the things she said here show that she will benefit from attending that course. So I don't know her personally, so it's not something I'm going to offer to do. But if anybody's watching this and thinks it's what doing this, you should just let her know. And then there's one more person who talked about it. I just want to bring up. The reason why I'm doing this is I feel these kinds of inputs that this gentleman, I don't know what's his name. Let me go back again and say the name again. Now, you sabi guy, the person, I think is a man. I think it tends to be dismissed a lot. You can even see the response she had to it until they both decided to de-escalate. Let me see. There's one more that I wanted to. One more I wanted to bring. I don't know whether I can find it or not. Okay, good. This Oriofe, this person, I don't know if it's a man or woman. A man without a job for 7 years and using a car bought for him by the wife, meant for Uber for pleasure, has a lot he's dealing with, and taking same out on the wife, rightly or wrongly. Thank God for the rescue. 7 years is a lot, and I wonder at what state things escalated. Be sure to have an audience with the man. A one-off meeting may not really reveal all you need to know. Nonetheless, the woman is not safe going back to him. The man has reached a point of no return in depression. He's in the final stage of depression, blah, blah, blah. However, there may be lessons to learn if you dig deep while processing the divorce. There are little or inconsequential things that partners do to one another that can escalate quickly. How long is the marriage? What was it like before he lost his job? Answers to these questions and other questions are necessary to establish the problem, not for the purpose of reconciliation, but for lessons to be taken from yet another failed marriage. And somebody replies and says some men are sick upstairs. So are some women. It's the thing is, some human beings are sick. All these men, women. It's not about gender. We need to end this gender thing. There's nothing like gender in this matter. It's a human thing. Now he said there are underlying. I just want to read another section of his commentary. He said there are underlying problems. One of the things that's evident is the loss of self-esteem that comes with losing his economic power and position of breadwinner. He would have picked up additions if he was responsible and loving before he lost his job. He may have issues with the way and manner his wife behaves towards him. This guy is trying to touch on the same thing. All right. Then the man replies, a responsible man will do it. You see, these people keep talking as if human beings are robots. We are not robots. We are people with feelings, and we have people with memories. When people say things to you, if the person that is closest to you, that knows all your secrets and talks to you in a particular manner, says things to you, it has an impact on you that can determine the way you feel about walking onto the streets the next morning. People need to understand that. That's why I say we all need to get training before we open our mouths and talk about this kind of situation, before we even try to mediate at all, because we're going to mess up things when we just go in with our, I will call it quote unquote carnal knowledge. Man, you don't just say any responsible. Look, the man may be responsible and he may have been pushed beyond the point where he can even think like a responsible man anymore, like a reasonable man, because of the things that has been said to him and done to him in his home. You weren't there. You don't know what was done to him and said to him. You don't know the upbringing he had, what was done to him when he was a child. You do not know the kind of insecurities he had as a child. You don't know the kind of upbringing. You don't know what was done to him in his home. So when he begins to experience it at his spouse's hand, or she begins to experience that at her spouse's hand, it can trigger a different kind of behavior from him or her. Psychology is a very complex thing. Human beings are emotionally driven. We must understand this. You can't just dismiss it and say, oh, you should just do it. No, it doesn't work like that. Olafre once again replies, not all men can easily pick themselves up when they lose the job. The role the partner plays and the manner goes a long way that it becomes evident that she has done that. Nonetheless, domestic violence, that's the thing. People just try to talk about all these things as if it's just a matter of pushing an on button and the man will just on himself and start going. No. Anyway, the one I want to finish up with is the one in which I myself am discussing with somebody. Okay, so this is the story here. Husband kid. So the lady, the lady Didi or Luantoyi initiated the first post. So under that post, she's posted this one. Husband kills wife then attempts suicide in Niger State but didn't succeed. I think eventually I read here that he said succeed, but he strangled his wife, blah blah blah. But it's in the comments, because this is like another story inside a story. You understand? This man didn't have a job. He was jobless while my sister is the one feeding him and taking care of the 9-year-old. My sister works and he first attempted to kill her. Please read the story. I'm not going to go through that. I just want to read out the comments. Okay, so now you see they're talking about, we said you should live to live. Where the devil, the people are accusing them that they are the devil agents, blah blah blah, all those things. We're asking them to leave their families and destroying families. He said the woman is afraid to leave because of this. The women are afraid to leave because of stigma, and then the man says or the first says there's no stigma, blah blah blah. But I want to take you to the discussion I had with somebody here. Okay, now Yetunde. So this one I just acknowledge her. This is a lady talking. Look at what she said, and I think it's very valuable. This video is going to be long. I don't even know how many people are going to listen to it. It doesn't matter to me. I'm putting this on record. If next time I see anybody talking, I'm just going to forward the link of this video. That's what I do. For me, I think too many people have been very emotionally, how do I put it now? Very abstract about the way when they talk about domestic violence, and it's something that's driven by emotions. Domestic violence is an emotional crime. So if you cannot dig into the emotions and understand that we're complex human beings and our emotions are not easily isolated. You cannot just point it and say the emotion is red. It's a mix of so many things, and a human being that's consumed by emotions at any point in time is capable of anything. When rage is boiling in the person, there are a lot of things that are feeding that rage, and it depends on who he's seeing and what he's hearing and what he has heard before. The same thing with the woman. So when they're going to act, they are acting out of their normal selves. You can't put a switch and put that off and on. So many things are pushing, are driving the person at that point in time. We need to get real, man. We can't solve this thing the way we are behaving. Every time you just want to dismiss it. Oh, you should know better. He can't know better. She can't know better. Because at that point in time, her emotions are upside down. There's nothing normal about her anymore. There's nothing normal about him anymore. So we have to help people to understand that they must not push each other beyond their emotional limits. This is something that needs to be done. If we don't do it, we're joking. We will not solve this emotional domestic violence problem. Here's what Yetune Ekpeyomi says. Lovely input. He said, my sister, the gospel of Okowa Anita or something is what will make me not to be involved. Oh, I don't, that Okowa Anita, I think, is when a woman was telling her that she was trying to take somebody else's husband and taking her husband, and so go and find your husband. There are husbands outside, because she was trying to intervene for the man. Say, I don't want acid on my face, because the women will tell the hubby, that's the woman will go and report her to the hubby. The wives who are the abusers will say you want to snatch their husbands. The husbands will not want to lose the investment, like maybe they pay dowry, or people saying you will not want people saying he's not the man, he's not man enough, despite the javelin, pestle throwing, short put knives by madam. Children putting poison in the father's food at the behest of the mothers. Children destroying the phone recording evidence to assist the abuser. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, another wonderful human being has posted something that is happening that tends to be dismissed all the time. I am telling you, listen to me. I have sons, I have daughters. I am estranged from 2 of my 4 sons. My two oldest children, because their mother has heaped lies in their minds and manipulated them emotionally. They behave so irrationally. They have anger that is embedded in them for no reason, no justification, and they are pushed and used. These same children who loved so much unconditionally are pushed and used to try to inflict violence on me. And that was the way they were pushed. It was not immediate, it was over a period of time. And I'm telling you, what this lady has written here is so true. They were used to try and destroy evidence against me, and that I was guarding against their mother. I had to be, look, they were used to tell lies against me. If I did not have my own evidence, only God knows I would have probably been in jail. So ladies and gentlemen, what is written here, Jane Felix Ogbonna, is somebody you should go to YouTube and go and type that name. Jane Felix Ogbonna, go and watch her video. She talks about this. Poisoning their husbands, using the children again, as weaponizing the children against the husband. I had to fight it tooth and nail to win back my daughters. Only God knows the kind of monster they would have been towards me if not for the fact that I stayed in their lives without accepting what the mother was trying to do. My sons, I'm working on them. I got one of my 3 sons back. The 2 others, I'm still working. Ladies and gentlemen, what this lady has written here is so true, yet it gets ignored most times. Let's see what the reaction to it was. He said, okay, so let me see. This person, okay, let me see what the response was done to her. Okay, I just replied her. I said, this perspective, this is me here. This perspective you've added is very important but often overlooked. Then Godwill Anthony said something which I now engage him in a conversation about. I mean, the guy was just spot on as well. He said the world has turned upend. We all just have to live with wisdom. Another thing is this: no woman will tell her flaws in the matter. They will always claim innocence like they were angels. They won't tell their rude attitude, flirting attitude with other guys online, shady things, etc. And when the man suspects her move and react, they call it infidelity or whatever, like they are innocent of it. We have seen married women getting pregnant for another man, and how many women came out to condemn her, but if the husband reacted, they will rush out saying different things. I hate violence, I hate abusive relationships or marriage. I'm a peace-loving person, but we have to tell the truth. We have to correct wrong acts from both genders. See that? It's no longer news that over 85% of married women still engage in extramarital affair. When their husband reacts, women call it infidelity. I beg, I don't tire to talk. Now, that story, this second story they posted, was about a man who was always suspecting his wife of infidelity. The question is, was there any truth to that? Nobody is saying it justified him physically attacking her. We're just saying, was there any truth to that? Because as I said, there are weak men, there are weak women. Therefore, when you do something that's going to provoke a weak person beyond their tolerance limit, you are the one precipitating the problem for yourself. Because first of all, you took marriage vows, didn't you? Why then do you want to go and have extramarital affairs? You are disrespecting your spouse, and some people cannot tolerate it. If there are people that are weak, you get what you get because you chose to marry them. So the point is, you can expect people to control themselves, but you cannot control yourself. Why can't you control yourself? Why should you have extramarital affair? Why can't you control your mouth? Why should you expect him to control his hand? You want to insult him, you want him to control his hand, but you cannot control your mouth. That doesn't make any sense. That's why the other man said you want the man to act responsibly. You don't want to tell the woman to act responsibly. Why can she not speak responsibly? Why can she not watch what she says? Why should she demand that the man should control his hands when she cannot control her mouth, and her mouth is cutting through him? The words from a mouth can cut like a dagger. Even the Bible talks about it. The nagging woman. So what are we talking about here? So you want the man to keep controlling himself while the woman continues to speak recklessly? Well, good luck to you if you find a man like me. We don't exist. We are like unicorns. We don't exist in large numbers. Good luck to you if you're looking for a man like me. And anyway, some of us are choosing that. We've decided that marriage is not even this thing for us anymore, because it's clear that we have a lot of women who are sick walking the streets. Now I replied to him. I said, excellent input. You hit the nail on the head. We need balance and objective perspective to be adopted in mediating on these issues. Sadly, like you so rightly noted, many women, though not all, as shown in Yetunde Ikunyomi's experience-based insight shared in her comment above, of course I acknowledge the lady, tend to ignore abuse when it's from the woman, and that only leads to crises like this, i.e. the man gets pushed to the wall and snaps. He replies me, Solagbade, exactly. Many women reason in such perspective. No normal man will, I think he wants to say, will beat his wife for any reason, for no reason. I hate violence and I can never take sides on such, but there is need for all of us to strike a balance. For us all to strike a balance. A lot of shit is happening these days. When women hurt men, just female voice out, but when on the other way around, uncountable women will come out saying different things. What I'll say is this: both genders should stop cheating in marriage. Not everyone can take this. We should stop the rude attitude all cause you are supporting the home. There are lots of things both genders are doing wrongly which need to be addressed. This is it. This is the way we should be talking. It's not a case of men are this, men are that. No. Women are this and that too. Many women are like that. We know. Why don't we want to talk about it? So it's not about gender. It's just a human problem. Now, I replied to him, you said it all, and you make an excellent point about how few men voice out. Jane Felix Ugonna, the female rights, men's rights advocate, she posts, I'm just talking about Jane, I think I mentioned that already. She posts videos on her channel, just the same name for the channel. Said men don't talk to themselves. She said that in one of her videos, that men don't talk. You see, fathers are supposed to talk to sons about women and the tendencies that women have, and prepare the minds of their sons for what they might face when a woman is not happy, for whatever reason. When a woman is upset, the things she's capable of, with her mouth especially, and some women with their hands too, they are capable of going to my stories are getting well known, and I'm going to continue to tell my story because so many men are afraid to talk. I don't know what the problem is. I don't have any problem. Anybody that thinks I'm a weak man because I'm telling my story is a fool. And I'm doing you a big favor. You don't know, because you don't know where you find yourself, or your child will find himself. So I'm going to. She poured hot water on me. So many injuries I sustained, but not one that she sustained. Is it that you're telling me I don't know how to inflict injury? Am I so weak, man? If you see my size, I'm almost 6 feet tall, and I'm not small, and I'm very physically fit. So you can't tell me I don't know how to also punch and beat and kick and injure somebody. Before the children grew up and started joining her when she was instigating them, I would have done some damage to her. I didn't. So that tells you a lot. So men need to learn from women. Okay, women, I said here that fathers don't talk to sons to share their experiences. Women do that so well. Men need to learn from them. One of the things I'm trying to influence is for men to speak out more and be more vocal about abuse, especially when it happens to them or another man. I've talked to so many men. They don't even want to be quoted. They don't even want to talk one-on-one about it. In fact, you just sit there, they will just want to end the conversation with you. And I look at it, you think doing this is going to insulate you from it. It might insulate you, but maybe your grandson, maybe your son, and then you will not have any experience, any knowledge or insights to draw upon to help that loved one. It might happen to your daughter too, because you choose not to participate. You will not have anything you can do to help. I'm talking based on experience. I know what I'm saying. How much help did I get from my own loved ones? How many people were able to intervene for me? I had to literally just save myself. Nobody could do anything for me. They literally had nothing to offer. You know, that's why I resolved that I'm not going to stop being an advocate. And I'm advocating for both genders, but I'm saying that men are disadvantaged in this relationship. When it comes to domestic violence, even the abused man gets labeled the abuser. That's what tends to happen, and that's nonsense is going to. If it's the last thing I do, that turning of tables on the abused man and making him the abuser, that thing, we're going to end it. Anybody that does it and I find out, I'm going to shame the person. If you don't do your job well, I will expose you that you're not doing your job well as a person who is an interventionist or a mediator. All right, so I told him, I said, we need more men like you, okay, who will refuse to speak with political correctness and will instead state the objective truth no matter whose ox is God. That's what real manhood is about. Kudos to you, no flattery internet. And we ended our conversation there.